So I guess when I think of like, have you made it? Let's break that down in terms of like, paint me the moments. So the inflection points of how you got to where you are. So I think of that in terms of like, when is the first time you even thought that you might be good at stand-up? You hadn't tried it yet, but you're like, yeah. Like, did you first think I'm funny? Or did you think I'm gonna try stand-up? What came first?
I think I thought I had an interesting perspective. And when I would do like speech and debate and public speaking in high school and tournaments, is it me?
I think it's me.
Okay.
No, it's you. It's you.
When I would do those things in high school, I would always be funny and I would get extra points from the judges.
Right.
So then when I went to college, the inflection point for me was, oh, stand-up comedy is funny speech and debate.
Yeah.
So that
Making
was
a funny argument.
That was the whole, like, that opened it up for me.
Because you're a poli-sci major, right?
Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, if I can just make funny
arguments.
Because
I always thought of that too. Like, I think of myself as a funny idea guy.
Yeah.
Like, I have just funny solutions to problems.
Yeah.
You know, like that in and of itself is like just making that argument. Like, how did you get there?
And I've just had a natural affinity for simile. Like, I was really good at saying, this is like this.
Yeah. You literally said like after you said simile. That was perfect.
Yeah, but people would always tell me, oh, that's such a great, you connected those two things.
Right.
But that's really all stand-up comedy is.
Totally.
You take like a generic thing that happens and then you compare it to something that's more relatable.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you get the idea to do stand-up.
Yeah.
You start, obviously. What was that point? Was that 03, 02?
04.
04 is when you started.
Yeah, September 04,
September 04. So you've been doing it for 13 years?
Yes.
Okay. And paint the moment for me, like, from that point then. Like, from there to here, what do you consider your leaps and bounds?
I think the first big one was, you know, sort of burning the boats, moving back home, and just going all in on doing open mics and stand-up.
I like that, burning the boats.
Yeah,
dude. Like, this is my island.
Dude, you gotta burn the boats.
Okay.
And at every point, you gotta burn the boats. When you try to get to the new piece of land, just burn the boats. And so that was like, hey, you're not gonna do the traditional college thing where I live in the dorms, now I live in the apartments with my friends. It's like, you're moving home, you're gonna save as much money as possible, and you're gonna take your parents' car and you're gonna drive to gigs.
Wow.
In Sacramento and San Francisco.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's not about, you know, whatever, beer pong and hanging out, doing that.
Yeah.
That's dead. You're doing this now. And you just gotta go all in on this.
And you do. Like, you don't drink.
Right.
That's
right.
a big thing.
Right.
I think it is.
Right.
And it's also because I always thought of it like, you and I would give each other props, like, wow, we work really hard. But I remember somebody said about you, it's like, yeah, but he doesn't drink. That's a big thing. Like, Hasan eats and lives and breathes comedy. Like, everything, your life felt like, speaking of offense, defense, like, you're just on the offensive. You're just, I think of Big Sean, I got no hobbies. I'm just like, that's totally HM.
Right. But I'm very lucky. I found a thing that I loved.
Yeah.
I got fired from all my other jobs. Safeway fired,
Ning.
Office Max fired, Ning fired.
Office Max fired?
Yeah.
How'd you get fired from Office Max?
I just couldn't get myself to do it. I quickly saw the end of the road.
Right.
Like I was just like, oh, this is how it ends? This is the best, this is pointless. Why am I selling printers? You know, like I would get into these big heady, like, what is the point of this?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's what, like, I loved working at Procter & Gamble, but at the end of the day, it was like, what's the end game? Like, I'm selling soap.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not to
but
me,
there's
more to life.
There's other people that are like, I'm selling soap so I can go be on the softball team and go home and watch Game of Thrones and be with my family.
It's fuel for the engine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But for me, I'm like, screw that. They have 80% of my life. I'm giving you 80% of my life so I can watch 2 episodes of GOT. Nah, man. Yeah, but I got an OLED TV. I made it. Nah, dude, you didn't make it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have freedom. You have, right? Like, so for me, I was like, if I'm at a job and I'm living for the weekend, I've lost. If I'm living for the scraps of the week, oh man, I've lost. Can I flip the paradigm where the scraps of the week are like, yeah, all right, fine, I'll be home and I'll watch. Like, that's what's so cool to me. The scraps of the week where I'm home and I'm like, do you want to watch Stranger Things?
Yeah.
That is like the exception, not the rule. I'm less excited to do that than to like write or work on my new show.
Yeah, then you won. Like,
yeah,
our friend Monrock says that. She's like, you don't work a 9 to 5. You won. You beat the system.
Yeah, to me that's the thing.
And so we made it.
Yeah, and then like I said, it's like
I mean, we're on different levels.
no. But when do
yeah.
you retire? Death. So
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, no one leaves the game.
Not really, unless you choose to. You either get like so rich that you don't want to do it anymore, or you just again choose to. You don't love it anymore, and you just don't do it.
What was that next step then after that?
The second thing was, all right, now you've done Sacramento and Davis, and you're driving to San Francisco. Live in San Francisco, be the best possible comedian you can there.
Right.
Moved to San Francisco, won
the
Wild
contest,
94.9,
94.9.
best comic standing. Okay, now move to LA. Like you're one of the better comics in the city. You've honed your craft, moved to LA, and try to rise in the ranks. And when I moved in 2009, and from the time I left in 2013 or 2014, that was the thing. Can I try to build traction and make it happen? And the next big inflection point was, I think, getting hired at The Daily Show, and then.
So before Daily Show, what was that point in LA where you felt like you did accomplish that?
It was just little victories, getting a TV credit, making a viral video, and getting, having that connect. Getting new faces.
Was that Spider-Man? Was that the first one?
No. I think it was The Truth.
Okay.
Ashton Kutcher Pop Ships.
Okay, it's like Ghostface.
That was like a big inflection point for me. Like,
yeah.
oh man, you can make something that's purely your voice, and it resonated and popped with people.
How much of that was industry versus your own stuff? So like you were always on the grind with The Truth, with Ghostface, all those things, but then you had like Ridiculousness or Philosophy, and Disaster Date, and all those other things you were doing. I mean, I know you'll say that the things of which you're most proud are the ones you created. Of course, that's what a lot of creators say. But did they sort of feed each other, and what was the mechanism there?
I think they feed each other-ish, but I'll just be 100% honest.
Please.
In hindsight, everything that you do that you're cast in, it's a Diet Pepsi version of yourself. It's low-calorie Rajiv. It's just kind of like a shadow of what you really are. And the stuff that you write, and the stuff that we love, that we as consumers and artists love the most, are those like things that when you hear the full story about it, you hear, oh, that artist or that writer director wrote the movie themselves, directed it themselves. It was their passion project. Why is that the recurring theme in all those pieces of work?
Of course.
Because that's the best stuff. It has the least amount of notes from the outside. There's less cooks in the kitchen. That means that you put the effort into writing that thing or going into the studio and recording that thing, and it was purely yours.
Hey, if you like that, there's more. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content.